Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on the video. This is David Pendleton, and today I'm going to give you the rookie walkthrough for the Riverside tournament. So, as you can see, we started off with a pretty good round, so minus 16 is a great place to start. And really, we're going to have to either hit this minus 16 or build onto it to a minus 17 and maybe a minus 18 on one of the front nines or the back nine. Either way would be good, as this is going to be an extremely high scoring tournament. So you're already seeing a lot of great scores out there. The good news is this did qualify in first, but depending on brackets, a score like this should put us in a top 10 zone. But we have to build on this and keep pushing forward. So, in my videos today, you're going to get the usual. You're going to get a really good, slowed down, detailed hole-by-hole approach. On some of the holes, I'll give you multiple ways to play it, depending on your clubs. And I've been asked through Facebook Messenger, hey, if I like to use money balls or I like to use power balls, what ball would you recommend on certain holes? So if I feel that a money ball would give you an advantage in tournaments moving forward, I'll just really quickly tell you what stats you would want to play at the beginning of each hole. So if you find this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel. It would be really, really appreciated. And make sure you set the alerts up, because sometimes on Rookie and my Pro videos, I do update holes throughout the week. I don't know if I'll be doing that this week because we're pretty locked in already on Rookie and Pro. So Rookie minus 16, Pro I've hit 2 minus 17s so far. So both are looking really good. So please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and please hit the like button. And hey, at the end of the tournament, if you found out my video was extremely helpful to you and you got yourself a really good finish, please donate to my channel. That really helps me out. These things are very time consuming, and I try to be more detailed than anybody else, which you'll see on some of these holes. And if you'd like to donate, if you're generous like that, please look at the comments section, and you will find a link to my PayPal, or you'll find my Venmo information if you have that instead. So enough of that. Let's hop into the scorecard real quick. See, hole number 1 is a par 4, and it is a must eagle. All right, so I'm going to show you how to get this one. That's very simple. Hole 2 is a par 3, and all par 3s in this tournament are droppable, meaning we can get the hole-in-ones pretty consistently on all the par 3s in this tournament. Hole number 3, that one's a pain. This is a very difficult hole in my opinion. We're going to talk through strategy on that one, and if you screw up your shots, I'm going to show you how to get yourself out of trouble. That is something also that I do different than most streamers. I don't just show the good shots. I'll show you what I do when I get in trouble, and I do have an example on that hole. Hole number 4, I'm a little disappointed that I missed because this is also a par 3. This is a pretty easy eagle. Hole 5 is another par 4. Now, we're going to be treating this one as a must eagle in order to compete in this tournament, and I'm actually going to show you how to drive close to the green on hole number 5, no matter what clubs you have. Hole 6, that's a very easy par 3. That's a very good Albatross opportunity. Hole 7, another par 3, a very good hole-in-one opportunity. Hole number 8, I'm very disappointed that I missed on this account, but I have dropped it twice since then, and I'm going to show you the best way to drop hole number 8. And then hole number 9 is actually a very good Albatross opportunity as long as you hit your drive correctly. So a lot of great stuff to show you, so let's go ahead and hop into it. All right, so hole number 1. Now, I've got 2 ways to play hole number 1. The most important thing to know right off the bat is you are going to be playing this at 20% elevation, and that's going to be no matter what club and ball you use. So I'm going to show you here with an extra mile 7, and you can really do this with any extra mile. But some people ask me, why do I choose a Titan ball over a Kingmaker? Because isn't a Kingmaker better? A Kingmaker is better in the sense of more side spin, but you really need to judge the wind. The wind is going to tell you what ball you want to play. So right here, we are getting crosswind, but we're also getting tailwind at the same time. if I were to use a Kingmaker, remember a Kingmaker is a wind resistance 3 ball and a Titan is a wind resistance 2. In this situation, I do not want to reduce the wind. I want more tailwind mile per hour. So therefore, that's why I use a Titan. So a lot of people ask me that, and that's why I'm doing a Titan on this hole over a Kingmaker. But this is actually a very simple approach. I'm going to be using full backspin, and I'm going to be using full left side spin. And as you can see here with my ball guideline, I have all types of room to play with. So I pull this one at 20% elevation. And we're going to be using, quite a bit of left curl. And this is just to get us bouncing from the fairway into the green area. So that leaves us on the fringe with a very simple chip-in shot for the eagle. And again, this is a must eagle on this hole. Now, if you want to try to dial in a hole-in-one, you can go for a rough bump. And yes, you will be able to get a hole-in-one on this hole. My recommendation is to find a good line, like I'm doing here, and then just start to take notes on how you miss. So in this example, I have no spin on my ball. I'm going for a rough bump. And again, 20% elevation, no matter how you're playing this hole. I chose a Navigator simply just for the wind resistance 2 and the power 1, as we don't need a lot of power. So all I would do differently here is I would add like maybe a bar or 2 a top spin and then see where the shot goes. Now, I don't like the rough bump that much, to be honest with you. I would much rather just play it the way that I played the first time, by bouncing over the sand and using left curl and just take the eagle. I'm not going to be greedy with the hole-in-one, but I do want to give a shout out to one of my followers, Seth here, playing on his Bob Ross account. Sent me this video yesterday with a marlin and a rock. And as you can see, he is also taking the bouncing over the sand approach, which I do think is the safest way to go. As you can see, he's doing this with not a powerful club and obviously a power 0 ball. I'm sorry the video is a little grainy. He screen recorded it, sent it to my iPhone, and then I airdropped it to my iPad, so the quality is just not great. But as you can see, he's using almost a full ball of curl. So pretty similar to what I did. And he snuck that bad boy in the cup with like a 3 or 4 roll around. So great job, Seth, on a hole-in-one on a par 4. That is awesome, my man. Okay, hole number 2. So hole number 2, we're going to be playing 10% minimum. Now, I want to rewind this for a second because, I try to play every single par 3 on rookie with a Navigator ball. And I do that because it's power 1. Really, any other more power on a rookie tournament par 3, you do not need. And it's not going to give you an advantage. So, if you notice here, my backbone is recommended to take this shot. At least that's where it starts off with. And then when I try to go for the rough bump, I can't push up to a rough bump with my sniper, or else I would be actually landing on the green. So I had to switch this to a marlin ball. So just so everybody knows, we're going to be playing this par 3 with a marlin, and we're going to be playing at 10% elevation at absolute minimum distance of our club. I'm recommending that we go 3 bars of topspin with 1 bar of left side spin. And I am putting this directly through the pin. And I'm trying to get my wind arrow as north as possible. But if I had to favor one side, I would favor the 1201 pull, just because of the way that the green slopes. So as you can see here, we were able to sneak it on the left-hand side of the cup. And one thing to notice to make you a better tournament player is, so let's say I make that hole-in-one, and the next time I get the exact same wind and I line up the exact same way, but I missed the hole-in-one. you would probably miss it to the left because of the way the green slopes. So if my wind arrow was blowing north, but then it vibrated north to north left, that would be considered an 1159 pull angle. So if I pulled it when it vibrated on that 1159 side, I would have not have made the hole-in-one on this hole. So that's how particular shots are, and that's something that I try to help you guys with become a better player, is you need to really pay attention to your pulls. So on that particular shot, when I went back and watched a replay, I noticed that I was favoring the 12 o'clock to 12:01 side, and it still came in left side of the cup. So that's going to be very important to know moving forward, is we do need to favor the 12:01 pull angle on that hole. But that's going to be a very, very good opportunity for a hole-in-one. And I know a lot of people are scared of rough bumps. Don't be. There's a lot of rough to play on this one. You can hit great left or great right, and you're still okay. Now, this hole is a pain. So first thing, we're going to talk about the drive and the ball that we're using. The replay is screwed up. I am not playing this with a Marlin. I am definitely playing this with a Titan ball. And again, that's because of the tailwind push. I don't want to use a Kingmaker because if I do, I reduce the wind on the drive. And this is not a situation where we want to reduce the wind. We want as much wind as possible. 10% elevation on shot number 1. Shot number 2 will be 0%. But everybody needs to know, if you're taking notes, you need to play with a big dog on this hole. Play with your big dog no matter what. Because if you mess up your drive, a sniper is just not going to cut it. You'll have to lay up on the second fairway and try to chip in for an eagle. And I would rather be on the green for an eagle on a par 5. All right, so we're going to talk through this one again after we see the shot. But this right here is really the type of drive that you're looking for. And for you folks who are playing with higher power extra miles, okay, this is an extra mile 7. So remember, I only have 4.5 bars of topspin. If you have an extra mile 8, you have 6 bars of topspin. You need to be careful how much topspin you use because you don't want to go too far onto this fairway and roll into the rough. That would be demoralizing, especially if you have an extra mile 9. Be very careful. So I would recommend playing it this way. And let's take a look at the ball guideline because we've got to be very specific on this hole because this hole is killing people. All right. So the first thing I want you to notice right here is my ball guideline. Take a look at how my second bounce is over that rough and on the fairway. That is where you need to hit. If you clip the rough and roll onto the fairway, you're going to have a very difficult time reaching the green in 2. That's how specific this hole is. And as you can see, I'm using all 4.5 bars on my extra mile 7 with 1 bar of left side spin. So 4.5 bars, 1 bar of left. No matter what extra mile you have, that's what I recommend you use with a Titan ball. And your ball guideline, it needs to look like that, okay? Then you pull 10% elevation and take a look at my overpower here. I'm putting about 1/4 of my ball to almost 1/2 of a ball in overpower. So really it's about 1/4 of a ball overpower. And that allows us to get that second bounce just over the rough. Now, here's shot number 2 where the ball is showing correctly with the Titan. Okay, everybody, this is the situation you want to be in. You want to stretch your club and have the ball guideline on the green. See, that's perfect. That's going to make this an easy eagle. We're using a little bit of backspin and we're using a little bit of topspin. A little bit of side spin to get to the hole. As you can see, I pulled my rings with no elevation and then I pushed my target back up to max. That way I got the full distance back. This is not an albatross hole by any sense, meaning I'm not going to try to dial in an albatross. I'm just going to try to get the eagle on this hole every single time. Now, let me show you this. So this is what a lot of streamers don't do. They don't show you what to do if you get in trouble. So yesterday when I played this hole, I did clip the rough on the drive, and I went full overpower with my big dog, which is hard to hit a perfect shot. Anyways, I ended up in the rough, all right? So if you end up in the rough, I'll tell you the way that I play. I play most of my shots from the rough and from the sand at absolute full topspin of my club, and then I look for the ball guideline to even out, which you're going to see. And the reason that I play with full topspin, and this will make you a better player overall in tournaments and in one-on-one play, is because I want the distance from where I hit the ball to my landing position to be as short as possible. I don't want the wind messing with the ball at all. So for example, if I try to hit the ball from the rough and I try to land onto the green here, that's too much room for air. Not that the wind is going to be much of a factor, but the shorter the distance, the easier the shot. And you'll see what I mean here. That's hard to explain, but it works. So anyways, I go full topspin, and then I bring my club target back as much as I can to make my distance of hitting the ball to landing spot as minimal as possible. Now, hitting perfect is always the key, but as you can see there, when you flatten out your ball guideline, you get a really good smooth roll to the cup, and I saved the eagle. So if you get yourself into a bad situation, that's how I recommend you taking your shots to try to get out of the situation. Okay, all right, so hole number 4. As you can see, we're going to be using a marlin ball. And the same thing yesterday on this hole, I wanted to use a navigator for the wind resistance too, but I just couldn't set the shot up properly. Now, we're going to be playing this at 0% elevation, so no elevation. And I believe 1.5 top spin is going to be, a really good top spin to do on this hole. And we're playing this one at minimum distance as well. So as you can see here, we are just burning the left edge of the cup. So let's take a look at the setup, because we know this setup is really good, and we know the spin is really good. So we'll rewind it here. So there's my spin, okay? 1.5 top spin. We know came in very smooth to the cup. So 1.5 top spin and no side spin. Now, what I'm going to do here to fix this shot and to get the hole-in-one moving forward, and again, if you do this, this will make you a better tournament player. So, a lot of people ask me how I dial in shots. Well, here's how I dial in a shot. So first of all, I have to understand when I play a par 3 on my first playthrough, I need to make sure I get the speed to pin right. And we've already got that at 1.5 top spin, no side spin. We know that's perfect. So at this point, I will take a screenshot of this, and then I'll send this to my iPhone. So that way, the next time I play this hole on my iPad, I have a reference point pulled up on my iPhone, because this is a really good reference point. And my reference point is, look at my yellow ring. Do you see how it is just on the green? So it's not right up against the fringe, it's just on the green. I'm going to be looking for that, and then I'm going to be looking for my ball guideline to be just to the right-hand side of where I'm aiming right now, because this green slopes from right to left. So when your ball touches down, it automatically starts to roll to the left just because of the way the green slopes. So I'm going to have to offset and account for that. So offsetting means instead of putting my ball guideline directly at the pin like it is right now, I'm going to move it over to the right-hand side of the cup. So had I moved this over to the right-hand side of the cup and hit a perfect ball, this would have been a hole-in-one. So that's how we're going to get the hole-in-one on this hole. 1.5 top, no elevation, yellow ring, just barely onto the green, and move the ball guideline to the right edge of the cup, and we're going to be good to go on hole number 4. Okay, so hole number 5, I don't like to do this on my rookie playthroughs. I like to give most people the opportunity to play a hole safe. And if I feel there's a good way to gamble, then I also show you a way to gamble. I'm going to recommend that on this tournament, because the scores are going to be so high in order to compete, we're going to have to gamble on this hole. And what we want to do is we actually want to drive over the water onto the left-hand fairway there, which I'm going to show you how to do with a big topper. This is a very unconventional shot, but it does work, and I've actually hit it every single time. So here's what we're going to be doing, and I just need to figure out the spin a little bit better. Because as you can see here, I'm using 6 bars of top spin and 1 bar of right side spin. And from here, I'm pulling rings, but I'm going to just tell you what I'm looking for. So take a look at my ball guideline. Notice how it's, the purple ball guideline is hitting that front tree right there. So there's 2 trees side by side. I'm looking to be like on the left-hand side of that stump. So that's going to be a very important landing zone. And from here, the shot is actually pretty simple. You're just going to be doing a full hook or slice, whatever it's called. And you're going to be driving from here. And as you can see, that puts us at a very, very easy eagle. Now, but the part is that was with my big topper 4. Now I go big topper 5, and I go same spin. So I'm sorry, it's 7 top spin and 1 bar right side spin. And I'm really lining up in the same area. Same thing, max overpower, max curl, full hook. And this time I clip the rough and I roll out. But either way, that's still a very simple eagle opportunity from that close. But that's how I'm going to recommend that you play it. So you're not going to have to worry about elevation. You're not going to have to worry about pulling rings. You're just going to take a screenshot of that landing zone and really look at it and make sure that's where you're at. And then from there, you don't have to worry about hitting perfect or anything like that. So this is the shot to pin on that one I just showed you. And that's an easy shot there with your wedge. Now this is another par 3 here, or par 5, and I have seen a lot of opponents actually birdie this hole because they're messing up the drive. So some people are trying to go right. You can go right if you want to, but I don't recommend it just because there's sand, there's a narrow strip of fairway, and there's a lot of rough to deal with. I'm going to be going left, and we're just going to hop over from fairway to fairway. That's a very simple drive, but the only problem is you have to overpower your shot. So if you are a player that likes to use money balls, I would recommend you could use a berserker, so that's a free-to-play ball. But I would really like to use like a power 5, wind 2, or wind 3 ball. And I'm not really worried about side spin. And the reason that I would like the wind 2 or 3 is because it's going to make your Albatross Opportunity really, really good on this hole. And if you use a berserker, a power 5 wind 1 ball, it's a difficult ball to drop albatrosses with. But for the drive, we're going to be going the left-hand side, and we're going to be going absolute full top spin. So I would do full top spin no matter what your extra mile is because you have plenty of fairway here. And I put on like a bar or 2 of right side spin. And we're going to be pulling this one 10% elevation. I am pushing my rings back up to max. And then I'm just letting this thing rip. So it's almost full overpower. Hit a perfect ball. That's going to be extremely important. But as you can see, we were able to get right down the middle of the fairway for the most part here. And that leaves us with a good chance at an albatross. And I went ahead and played this one at no elevation. And I do like playing with the Kingmaker just because of the wind resistance 3, power 3. As you can see, we have plenty of club here because we're having to use backspin just to get to the hole. You'll see there that I favored the left side of the pin. And the reason that I'm doing that is because we're getting a crosswind push to the right. And there's a lot of distance from my landing spot to the pin. So when my ball touches the fairway, the wind is going to push it again. And you gotta always think about that. The wind not only pushes the shot right here, but after it bounces, it pushes it again. And I still missed about a full green square to the right. So moving forward, I'm going to use the same spin adjustments, but I am not going to put my ball guideline through the hole at all. I'm going to start off by putting it 3/4 of a green square to the left of the hole. I don't know if I can rewind and show you what I mean, but let's see. All right, so see how right here, it is on the left-hand side of the cup, and we still miss significantly right? What I'm going to do moving forward is notice how the cup is in the corner of that dark green square patch. What I will do next time is I will put my ball guideline left. So where the dark green patch meets the light green patch, I'm going to move my ball guideline all the way over there to the left. And, hopefully I hit a perfect ball and see what happens. Maybe we'll drop it. Maybe we'll get closer. But that's how you can dial in these long-range albatross shots. Now, if you want to be a little bit of a riskier player, I do believe the rough bump gives you the best option for an albatross. As you can see here, I left my ball guideline way through the pin, just because I referred to my notes on my last tournament that we played this hole, and it seemed if I didn't leave it way through the pin, the ball kind of died once it hit the rough. And as you can see, that's really good speed, and we just burned the right edge of the cup. So if you want to, you can play it either way. I will be playing the offset shot over the rough bump because I just don't want to hit a great ball and get stuck in the sand and do something stupid when I think we can really have a good shot to offset our ball and get the albatross there. All right, so here we go. Hole number 7, another par 3. And, unfortunately, I tried to play the Navigator again, but would not have been able to pull my rings if I would have kept it with the Navigator because I would have been in between clubs, so we had to go to a Marlin. So every single par 3 on this tournament is being played with a Marlin. 10% elevation. Yellow ring up there again. So let's take a look at the landing spot. Notice how the yellow ring is just barely inside the rough. Important details when it comes to par 3s. Ball guideline to the pin. 1.5 top spin, no side spin. 10% elevation. Ball came in a little fast, but not too fast for the hole-in-one. So there's another hole-in-one on a par 3. Again, have your bag set up right. You got to use a Marlin. A Navigator is too much power for this hole. And we'll take a look at the setup one more time. So 1.5 top. I'm sorry, I did 2 top spin on this one, so I apologize about that. I did 2 top spin, and I came in super hot. So I'm going to be switching this down to probably like 1.5 or 1.75. But as you can see, the ball guideline is dead center of the cup through the hole. So maybe as a community here, we can talk about this one together. If you guys and gals use 2 top spin and you hit it as well, let me know. I'm just afraid that if we do 2 top spin again, we might end up just banging this pin and it bounces out of the cup instead of into the cup. Because you see it came close to not going in. But it's a good shot. We'll take it. All right. Hole number 8 is a very good eagle opportunity. And normally I play this on the right-hand side, which I did yesterday. But I didn't like the crosswind we were getting on shot number 2. I'll show you 2 ways to play it. I did this one with a rock. And this is actually a Navigator. It is not a Quasar. I don't ever use a Quasar unless I have to have a side spin that a Navigator won't give me. I don't like the Quasar ball. But we're laying up on the left-hand side here because shot number 2 gives us almost a dead tailwind to the pin. And anytime you can get like a dead center tailwind or headwind, that's really good for drops. So as you can see here, I just kind of put this ball right into the hole. And the drive is played 10% elevation. And that's in. Now, here's how to do it with an extra mile. And this is probably the way that I'll be playing it from now on. And again, okay, this is not a kingmaker. This is a navigator. All we need is a navigator. Wind resistance 2, power 1 is plenty for this hole. But I'm going to be doing this shot right here. Kind of putting my yellow ring up on the rough line with my ball guide line, you know, obviously onto the fairway. And I did 2 top spin with full right spin. And we're using a little bit of curl as well. You kind of want to get as far up on the fairway as possible in this little nook here. So that's about as close as we're going to get without really pushing the boundaries. But what I like about that, again, is look at shot number 2. Gives us almost dead tailwind to the pin. So I'm able to use some backspin here. The only thing that I don't like is how your ball guideline goes away sometime on this hole. But I just kind of put it, you know, right in front of the pin. That way it does a double bounce into the hole. And I pull this with no elevation. And I pulled this between minimum and mid distance of my club. I think minimum was like 1.1 rings and mid was 1.6. I went ahead and pulled this one 1.3. And as you can see, we dropped another eagle. This is a very, very good eagle hole. And this one will give you a leg up if you get that one down. You should be able to hit this one every single time with perfect balls. All right, hole number 9. This is it. So hole number 9 gives us probably the best opportunity in the tournament for an albatross. Now, no matter what extra mile you have, well, I shouldn't say no matter what, but extra mile 7, 8, you're able to just take a kingmaker or a titan. Now, in this situation, you notice that I have tailwind. And I told you earlier, hey, don't play a kingmaker if you have tailwind because you don't want to lose the distance. Well, on this hole, I'm playing a kingmaker because I don't need the extra wind. Even with a kingmaker, I'm able to land on the fairway here, and I'm going to have to use backspin in order to make sure I actually don't hit this drive too far. So we're going to be using a kingmaker, and we're going to be using backspin. And by using the kingmaker, that gives us one more stat of wind resistance on the second shot, which is an advantage for an albatross. So 10% elevation, everybody. I'm using 1 bar of backspin. And I think I settled on 1 bar of left side spin. I was able to do this no problem with my extra mile 7 as well. You know, but if you do have much lower clubs, you might have to bounce from the fairway onto this fairway. But again, this is an easy drive. You can go fairway to fairway, no problem. That's what we have to do on pro. And no matter what you have to do, you'll end up, you know, in the same area, which all you want to do is get as high up on this fairway as possible, obviously without going into the rough. Now that's going to set us up. Oh, here's the extra mile 7. As you can see, extra mile 7, the landing zone is still on the fairway. So we have no problems there at all. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the Albatross Opportunity. As you can see, we're at minimum distance of our sniper. And I settled on 5 backspin with 1 bar of left side spin. And again, because we're getting a push to the right-hand side, like we're getting the crosswind push to the right, I went ahead and set this one up on the left side of the hole. Because the wind is very small. It's only 2.5 miles an hour, so we're not going to get a big push like we would if it was 4 miles an hour or if we were playing a higher difficulty like pro or expert. Hit a perfect ball. Always the wild card. And we snuck that one in on the left-hand side. So this may be a situation where we don't have to offset to the left. But, you know, I only hit 1 perfect ball out of the 3 shots on this hole. And the 1 perfect ball went in. So that's it, everybody. You know, I hope you got a lot of good notes on this one. I hope this really helps out. Please subscribe. Please hit the like button. And again, if you're generous, please donate to the channel. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you very much.